Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. People are always watching. We are always observing, always learning, and always forming impressions. And when it comes to men and women, let me share a little secret. Men notice things women often don't even realize. Now, you might think men only pay attention to the obvious, looks, style, or personality. But the truth is, men notice far more than they let on. They pick up on details, small habits, and unspoken messages. And today, I want to share with you 7 things women have no idea men notice about them. Men are often perceived as straightforward, focused on the obvious, and less observant when it comes to the details of human interaction. However, the reality is quite different. Men notice far more than they let on, often observing the subtle things women do, the unspoken messages they convey, and the habits they may not even be aware of. These observations are not always discussed openly, but they shape impressions, influence attraction, and even determine long-term interest. For instance, a woman might think a man is only noticing her outfit, but in reality, he's picking up on the way she carries herself in that outfit. Confidence, posture, and comfort in one's own skin are more noticeable than the brand of the dress or the style of the shoes. Men can sense whether a woman feels comfortable in her appearance, and that has a bigger impact than the outfit itself. A woman who moves with ease and confidence naturally stands out, while one who constantly adjusts her clothes or seems unsure of herself sends a completely different message. Men also notice the way a woman interacts with those around her, even in the smallest situations. For example, when she speaks to a waiter, a cashier, or someone providing a service, men pick up on the way she treats them. Kindness, patience, and respect do not go unnoticed. It's one thing to be charming in a conversation with someone you're trying to impress, but how do you behave when you have nothing to gain? That's where true character is revealed, and men are paying attention. Another thing men observe is a woman's energy in different situations. Energy is more than just physical movement. It's the overall vibe a person gives off. Does she bring a lighthearted, positive energy into a room? Or does she seem closed off and distant? Does she seem genuinely engaged in conversations? Or is she constantly distracted? People don't always realize how much their energy affects those around them, but men pick up on it quickly. A woman who seems engaged, warm, and comfortable in social settings often leaves a stronger impression than someone who appears disinterested or detached. Beyond energy, men also notice the little quirks and habits that make a woman unique. These aren't things she deliberately tries to showcase. They're the natural, unconscious behaviors that become a part of who she is. It could be the way she tucks her hair behind her ear when she's thinking, the way her face lights up when she's excited, or even a small laugh that she doesn't realize is endearing. These details might seem insignificant to her, but they are the things that men remember long after a conversation has ended. Men also pick up on emotional cues, sometimes more than women assume. They may not always react or comment, but they do notice changes in mood, tone, and body language. If a woman is upset but trying to hide it, many men will sense the shift in her demeanor. If she suddenly becomes quieter or more reserved, it doesn't go unnoticed. While not every man will always address it directly, they do register these moments and take note of how she handles emotions and challenges. Attention to detail also extends to how a woman expresses herself. Men notice not only the words she chooses, but also her delivery, the tone of voice, the pauses between words, the expressions on her face. These all contribute to how she is perceived. A woman who speaks with clarity, confidence, and enthusiasm naturally draws attention. On the other hand, someone who constantly second-guesses herself, speaks in an unsure tone, or hesitates to express her thoughts might be perceived differently. Another often overlooked detail is how a woman listens. Many people focus on how they speak, but listening is just as important. Men notice when a woman is genuinely engaged in a conversation versus when she is simply waiting for her turn to talk. Eye contact, facial expressions, and responsive body language all show whether someone is truly present in a discussion. A woman who listens actively and shows genuine interest leaves a lasting impression because it shows she values the conversation and the person speaking. Men also observe how a woman reacts to humor and social dynamics. Humor is an essential part of human interaction, and men notice whether a woman enjoys playful banter, appreciates different kinds of humor, or tends to take things too seriously. Laughter and the ability to enjoy the moment make interactions more enjoyable and create a stronger connection. Attraction is rarely just about the big things. It's the small, often unnoticed details that make the biggest difference. A woman may assume that men are only paying attention to surface-level traits, but in reality, men notice how she moves through the world, how she treats people, how she carries herself, and how she interacts on an emotional level. These subtle observations shape how a man perceives a woman, even if she has no idea he's noticing at all. Character is one of those things that speaks without ever needing to be announced. It's not just about what you say, it's about how you live, how you treat others, and the silent messages you send through your actions. Men may not always articulate it, but they notice a woman's character more than she might realize. It's in the way she carries herself, the way she interacts with the world, and how she responds to different situations. One of the first things men notice is how a woman treats people she doesn't need to impress. It's easy to be polite to someone when there's something to gain, but the real test of character is how she behaves when there's nothing in it for her. Is she kind to the waiter? Does she acknowledge the cashier at the store? Is she patient when things don't go her way? These small interactions reveal more about a person than grand gestures ever could. A woman who treats everyone with respect, regardless of their status or position, stands out without even trying. Men also notice a woman's honesty and authenticity. There's a difference between someone who says what they think people want to hear and someone who speaks with sincerity. A woman who is comfortable being herself without constantly seeking approval leaves a stronger impression. Men can sense when a woman is putting on a persona versus when she is genuinely expressing herself. People are drawn to authenticity because it creates trust. When a woman is confident in who she is and doesn't feel the need to exaggerate, pretend, or play games, it creates a level of respect that goes beyond surface attraction. Another aspect of character that men pick up on is reliability. Do her words match her actions? Does she follow through on what she says she will do? A woman who is consistent, dependable, and true to her word earns respect. On the other hand, someone who constantly makes promises but doesn't follow through, cancels plans at the last minute, or changes her stance based on who she's talking to, can be seen as unreliable. Integrity isn't just a word, it's demonstrated in everyday actions. Men also notice how a woman handles conflict and adversity. Everyone faces challenges, but the way a person reacts to difficult situations reveals their true nature. Does she blame others when things go wrong, or does she take responsibility? Does she get defensive and lash out, or does she handle things with composure? A woman who can navigate challenges with grace, who doesn't let frustration dictate her actions, shows a level of emotional intelligence that men respect. Another thing that speaks volumes is how a woman talks about other people. Men pay attention to whether a woman speaks positively about others or constantly criticizes and gossips. A woman who always finds faults in others, who focuses on negativity, or who enjoys tearing people down, may not realize that men take note of this. On the other hand, a woman who speaks well of others, even when they're not around, shows maturity, confidence, and kindness. The way someone talks about others often reflects how they see themselves, and men instinctively recognize that. Confidence is another key aspect of character that men notice. Confidence doesn't mean arrogance. It means being comfortable in one's own skin. A woman who walks into a room with quiet self-assurance, who doesn't feel the need to prove anything to anyone, naturally draws attention. Confidence is reflected in the way she speaks, the way she carries herself, and the way she interacts with others. It's not about being the loudest person in the room, it's about knowing who you are and standing by it. Gratitude is something else that men notice, even in the smallest ways. A woman who appreciates the little things, who says thank you, who acknowledges effort, has an energy that's uplifting. Gratitude isn't just about saying the right words. It's about truly recognizing and valuing the good in people and situations. Someone who always focuses on what's missing or what's wrong can drain those around them, while someone who expresses appreciation creates a positive atmosphere. Men also observe emotional stability. Every person has ups and downs, but how a woman handles emotions over time leaves an impression. Does she react impulsively to every minor inconvenience, or does she have a sense of emotional control? Does she create unnecessary drama, or does she approach situations with a level head? A woman who understands her emotions and manages them in a healthy way shows strength, and that is something men respect deeply. The way a woman values herself is another silent message that men pick up on. Self-respect isn't something that needs to be spoken, it's shown through actions. A woman who sets boundaries, who doesn't settle for less than she deserves, and who carries herself with dignity, commands respect. People treat you based on the standards you set for yourself, and men notice when a woman has high standards for how she allows herself to be treated. Character isn't about being perfect, it's about consistency. It's about how someone moves through life, how they handle relationships, and how they show up for themselves and others. Men may not always verbalize it, but they notice when a woman's character is strong, when her words and actions align, and when she carries herself with integrity and grace. There is something undeniably attractive about a person who is constantly evolving, someone who invests in their growth, who is always learning, and who refuses to settle for stagnation. Men notice when a woman is on a path of self-improvement, not because they expect perfection, but because growth is magnetic. It signals ambition, discipline, and a mindset that is always looking forward. A woman who values her own development naturally stands out, not just in relationships, but in every aspect of life. One of the first things men notice is whether a woman takes care of herself, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. It's not about being a certain size, following the latest trends, or chasing an unrealistic standard of beauty. It's about effort. A woman who takes care of her health, eats well, stays active, and prioritizes her well-being sends a silent message that she values herself. This isn't about vanity, it's about self-respect. When someone cares for themselves, it shows discipline and commitment, two qualities that men instinctively respect. Beyond physical health, self-improvement extends to the mind. Men notice when a woman is intellectually curious, when she is engaged in learning, whether through books, experiences, or meaningful conversations. A woman who is constantly expanding her knowledge, who has opinions, insights, and perspectives, creates a dynamic presence. She doesn't just consume information, she applies it, thinks critically, and challenges herself to grow. Men admire a woman who can hold an engaging conversation, who isn't afraid to express her thoughts, and who brings depth to discussions. Intellectual growth isn't just about intelligence, it's about the drive to keep learning and evolving. A woman's emotional growth is another aspect that men pick up on. Life comes with challenges, setbacks, and disappointments, but how a person handles them says everything. Does she learn from her experiences, or does she repeat the same patterns? Does she take responsibility for her own happiness, or does she blame others for everything that goes wrong? Emotional maturity is something that men notice immediately. A woman who has taken the time to understand herself, who recognizes her strengths and weaknesses, and who continuously works on being the best version of herself is rare. Emotional growth doesn't mean being free from flaws. It means being aware of them and actively working towards improvement. Men also notice when a woman is driven by her passions. It doesn't matter what she's passionate about, whether it's her career, her hobbies, or a personal project. Passion is infectious. It creates excitement, energy, and purpose. A woman who is excited about life, who has goals, who is working towards something meaningful, carries a different kind of confidence. She doesn't rely on others for fulfillment because she is already fulfilled by her own journey. This independence is incredibly attractive because it shows that she is not just looking for someone to complete her, that she is already complete on her own. Self-improvement also includes how a woman handles her mindset. Men notice the difference between someone who is solution-oriented and someone who is constantly stuck in problems. A woman who approaches life with a growth mindset, who sees failures as lessons rather than defeats, who finds opportunities even in difficult situations, has a presence that is uplifting. A positive, determined outlook on life is not just attractive, it's inspiring. No one wants to be around someone who is always complaining, always focusing on what's wrong. A woman who actively works on maintaining a strong mindset naturally draws people toward her. Discipline and consistency and personal growth are also things that men observe. Many people start something new, a fitness journey, a skill, a project, but few stay committed. A woman who follows through, who shows up for herself every day, who sticks to her goals, even when no one is watching, earns respect. Whether it's a fitness routine, a career pursuit, or personal development, consistency is a sign of strength. It shows dedication, reliability, and resilience. Men don't just notice what a woman starts, they notice what she sticks with. Another thing men pay attention to is how a woman invests in her personal environment. Growth isn't just about big accomplishments. It's reflected in the small things, like the way she organizes her life, the kind of energy she surrounds herself with, and the people she chooses to spend time with. A woman who is intentional about her space, her relationships, and her habits is someone who takes self-improvement seriously. She creates a life that supports her growth rather than one that holds her back. Confidence is a natural byproduct of self-improvement, and it's something that men notice immediately. Confidence doesn't mean arrogance, it means self-assurance. It means knowing your worth, standing by your values, and not seeking validation from others. A woman who is secure in herself, who doesn't feel the need to constantly prove anything, naturally commands attention. This kind of confidence isn't about appearance or social status. It's about knowing who you are and being comfortable in that identity. Men notice growth because growth is a sign of movement, of progress, of a life that is being built with intention. A woman who invests in herself, in her health, in her mind, in her passions, and in her emotional well-being naturally stands out because she embodies the kind of strength and resilience that is both rare and valuable. Energy is one of the most powerful, yet often overlooked aspects of human interaction. It's not something that can be faked or forced. It's a natural extension of who a person is, how they feel about themselves, and how they engage with the world around them. Men may not always be able to put it into words, but they notice a woman's energy almost instantly. It's in the way she walks into a room, the way she carries herself, and the way she makes people feel when she's around. One of the first things men pick up on is a woman's confidence in her own presence. Confidence isn't just about how someone looks, it's about how they feel about themselves. A woman who moves with ease, who isn't constantly adjusting her clothes, who makes eye contact and who speaks with certainty, naturally commands attention. On the other hand, someone who seems unsure, withdrawn, or hesitant in her actions creates a different kind of energy. It's not about being loud or trying to stand out. It's about having an inner self-assurance that can be felt by those around her. Men also notice a woman's level of engagement. When she's in a conversation, is she truly present or is she distracted? Does she listen with genuine interest or is she simply waiting for her turn to speak? A woman who is engaged, who makes people feel heard and valued, has a warmth that draws others in. She isn't just physically there, she is mentally and emotionally present. This kind of attentiveness creates a strong and lasting impression. Another thing men pick up on is how a woman reacts to different social situations. Some people walk into a room and immediately bring a sense of ease and positivity. Others carry tension, stress, or negativity with them. Men can feel whether a woman is open and approachable or closed off and guarded. A woman who seems genuinely happy to be in a space, who smiles naturally, who enjoys the moment, creates an energy that is contagious. People gravitate toward those who make them feel good, and men instinctively notice when someone has that kind of presence. The way a woman handles challenges also speaks volumes about her energy. Everyone faces difficulties, but the way she responds to them affects how she is perceived. Does she approach problems with a sense of calm and resilience, or does she allow stress and frustration to consume her? A woman who maintains her composure, who doesn't let small setbacks ruin her entire mood, has an energy that reflects strength and stability. It shows emotional maturity, self-awareness, and the ability to navigate life's ups and downs with grace. Men also observe how a woman's energy shifts depending on her surroundings. Some people naturally adapt to different situations while still staying true to themselves. A woman who can be lighthearted and fun in social settings, but also focused and serious when needed, shows a dynamic energy that keeps interactions interesting. It's not about being someone different in every situation. It's about having the ability to read the moment and bring the right kind of energy to it. Body language is another silent communicator of energy. The way a woman moves, the way she gestures, and even the way she sits can say a lot about how she feels. Men notice whether someone carries herself with confidence or whether she seems closed off, arms crossed tightly, avoiding eye contact, or constantly fidgeting can send signals of discomfort or insecurity. Meanwhile, open gestures, relaxed posture, and natural movement indicate a sense of ease and self-assurance. Another key aspect men notice is whether a woman brings a sense of positivity or negativity into conversations. Everyone has bad days, but some people consistently focus on what's wrong rather than what's right. A woman who always talks about problems, complains about everything, or finds reasons to be dissatisfied carries a heavy energy that can be draining. On the other hand, someone who focuses on solutions, who expresses gratitude, and who sees the good in situations creates an uplifting energy. Positivity isn't about ignoring reality. It's about choosing to approach life with a mindset that attracts rather than repels. Laughter and humor also play a big role in energy. Men notice whether a woman enjoys life, whether she can laugh at herself, and whether she can create moments of lightness. A woman who takes everything too seriously, who is always on edge, or who struggles to find joy in the moment, gives off an energy that can feel rigid. Meanwhile, someone who knows when to relax, enjoy a joke, and embrace fun creates an atmosphere that is both inviting and memorable. Emotional energy is just as important as physical energy. Men pick up on whether a woman is at peace with herself or if she carries unresolved emotions. Someone who is constantly overwhelmed by past experiences, who holds on to grudges, or who brings emotional baggage into every interaction creates an energy that feels heavy. A woman who has worked on herself, who has learned to process her emotions in a healthy way, and who doesn't let past hurts define her, has a different kind of presence. There's a sense of lightness, a freedom that comes from emotional clarity and self-awareness. A woman's energy is something that lingers even after she leaves a room. It's not about appearance, status, or external achievements. It's about how she makes people feel, the energy she brings, and the way she carries herself in everyday life. Men notice this, not necessarily in words, but in the way they feel when they're around her.